Welcome to the Alpha Omega Biz Dev podcast, where if you are a small business person or entrepreneur, and specifically a chiropractor in business, you are in the right place as I share tips and strategies on how to run a successful, efficient business. And today's topic is one that I really want to share from my heart. It really kind of hits home because it's my own personal story. And this has to do with if you're a chiropractor in business, or even just any type of small business owner, are you tired of working so much? Or are you wanting to work less and spend more time with your family? Because I know that most of us put more value on our family life and spending time with our kids and raising them, spending time with our spouse. And yes, work is important, but I think most of us, including myself, would rather have those special moments with family. And so the reason why I bring this up is because I am currently, and for the last 5 years now, have been in a very blessed, fortunate position to be working a lot less. Okay. And so before I go into all that, I need to explain the whole backstory and how it got to be this way. And so currently, I'm in my 22nd year of being in business or in practice as a chiropractor. And for many years, I worked hard. I worked. I grinded, hustled, whatever you want to call it, and eventually got to the point where I achieved what chiropractors would typically call a dream practice, which is the $1 million practice, which is your gross collecting $1 million a year. Not take home, but gross collect, which is very important to clarify for the audience here, which is not bad, not complaining at all. Even if you take home half of that, that is phenomenal, I think, for most people and, taking care of yourself and your family in this day and age. So once I got to that kind of pivotal mark in our chiropractic industry, which for myself, it was a long time goal and aspiration of mine. I remember being a younger chiropractor earlier in my career, like maybe in my 5th, 6th year of being a chiropractor, going to chiropractic business management seminars and really getting to know successful $1 million practice chiropractors and rubbing elbows with them and being able to talk with them and have dinner with them and getting insight about their ability to get to that kind of practice. So for me, it was this kind of thing I put on a pedestal that, hey, I want to achieve success like these chiropractors. These were kind of like my Kobe Bryants and Michael Jordans in the chiropractic world. So for me back then, it was a far-fetched goal, and I wasn't sure if I'd even get to that point. But I worked hard. I had a lot of mentors and guidance in my chiropractic career, and honestly, just worked my butt off. So I worked hard for many years, and eventually, I believe it was in my 14th year of being in practice at a school, which is a long time, finally hit that $1 million mark. And once I hit that, I actually had this dream or vision that once I hit that there was going to be some type of magical feeling that overcame me, and I would just find it easier to do everything else, and my life would be set, and I'd be truly happy. That it was like the nirvana of chiropractic business. But the reality was, it was a rude awakening and kind of a slap in the face. Once I hit that mark, which was really honestly just kind of numbers on a spreadsheet and financial reporting that showed us that we hit that mark over 12 months from January to December, I realized, yes, we celebrated, but I wasn't really happy. I was actually quite miserable. And the reason why is this: I was working a lot. I worked a lot to get to that point, and I realized, okay, I got to this point of having this $1 million practice, but does this mean I'm going to have to keep working like this? It doesn't mean I can work less. And so I was quite miserable. At the time, I had 2 young daughters. I have 4 kids now, but my 2 daughters were really young at the time. And so a typical day was like this. I would get up early, and I'd get to the office by 8 a.m., and work all day till 6 p.m. is our closing time. And by the time I wrap up things and finish up patient files, I'd be home by about 7 p.m. So that's an 11-hour day. And my daughters were under 5 years old at the time. So I basically missed out on everything. I missed out on a lot of their firsts, like first, words of this or phrases or first moments. My beautiful, wonderful wife was home taking care of them. And honestly, that is actually a harder job, but I was missing out on a lot of those monumental life moments. And when I would get home, I would eat dinner after my family had already eaten dinner. So I'd have to heat up some food and eat by myself. Then maybe I'd have a little bit of time to spend with my daughters before it was their bedtime, because young kids have to go to bed early, usually 8 o'clock. So then we'd put them to bed, and I'd have a little bit of time to relax and rest, and it was go to sleep, get some rest so I can do it all over again the next day. So it was this constant grind, day after day, Monday through Friday. And I realized that this wasn't really what I was hoping that a dream practice would be or feel like. And I just saw my long life ahead of me, because I knew that I had many more years to work, that if this is what work was all about and life was all about, honestly, I didn't like it, right? Because I wanted to be home earlier and be part of my kids' lives and see them growing up. And I also started to picture, hey, if this is going to be my work schedule as they get older, as they get into activities and after school sports, am I going to miss out on all that? Am I going to miss out on their games and not being able to take them to practice? Is it going to be basically two separate lives that I handle the work? And yes, it's an important thing to provide for my family financially, but was my wife basically going to be almost like a single mom, raising these two kids pretty much all by herself during the day? So I really didn't like that future vision of my life. And so I realized I wanted to make a change. I needed to make a really large pivot. And so I did. At that time, my current associate doctor, who had been a great doctor, had been with us for about 3 years, he decided to move back to South Korea to be closer to his family again. And so it was time for me to search again and hire another associate doctor. And just the thought of having to go through the whole process again, hiring a qualified doctor, all the time it takes to train them, it takes usually 3 to 6 months. And then just to still have to work full days with this doctor by my side, I knew that this is not what I wanted to keep doing. So I made a very conscious decision along, with consulting with my wife, who'd been a part of our practice in the early years to build it up. We both decided that we were going to make a big business model change. And so we decided we're going to actually have myself just work less. And I remember the conversation we had. We were driving down the freeway, and I just looked at her, and we were having this discussion. I said, hey, what if I just work part-time and come home after the morning shift at lunchtime? So then I can be here to help you with the kids and do all the things that families do and have dinner together. We can do this. And she said, yeah, let's do it. And the reason why we were able to make that decision pretty quickly is because we knew how solid of a business that we had, which I'm going to go into the key steps that you're going to need to make this happen for yourself if this is something that you want. So we, just to kind of finish the story, so what I decided to do was to change the business model, that I was going to actually hire a very experienced and seasoned, skilled doctor of chiropractic to join my practice, to be our next associate doctor, not just someone who was a more beginning to intermediate skills and experience, which is what I usually did in the past. And I knew that I'd have to search hard, that, these kinds of doctors are, hard to find. But I actually had 2 doctors in mind who I'd known for many years. And I knew that I'd have to pay a higher salary, which they would deserve because of their years of experience and their skill level. But I was ready to do that. And so I found the right doctor who I'd known for a long time. I went through the whole interview process. He was extremely qualified, and he joined our practice. It was a gamble. I felt very nervous if this was going to work. I also felt like, I wasn't ready to kind of let go of my baby, my practice, my business that I'd built for so many years, and to leave after just a morning shift. But This gamble paid off because after 3 months of having this doctor who's still with us today, he's been with us for about, I guess, 5 years now. Training him were the first 3 months. There was a lot to train on our office systems, but he got it pretty quickly. And the hardest part, again, for me was letting go. I remember my main staff kind of just nudging me and nicely, gently shooing me out of the office saying, Dr. Lee, you gotta, if you're going to do this, if you want to go spend time with your family, it's okay. We got this. You got to leave now, right? The other doctor's here and we're going to take care of the rest of the day with him and go home and enjoy your family. This is what you've worked so hard for to create. And so yeah, once I learned to let go, I also had in my head that patients were going to miss me like crazy and that wasn't going to work out. But you know what happened? The result was it worked. It worked. And it took off. Our new associate doctor seamlessly blended in with our office, did great, had, raving fans and patients loving his care and service. My team did great with him. And I was able to actually go home after the lunchtime break. I was able to pick up my kids after school as they were getting into school. I was able to cook dinner. I like cooking, and I was able to cook dinners. I was able to have dinner with my family at 5 o'clock instead of by myself at 7 or 7:30. And I was able to play with the kids outside. And honestly, I felt like I had finally reached what I was working for, my dream practice. And the other thing was the practice did not go down. We actually maintained and actually grew from there in our monthly and annual collections, believe it or not. So myself working part-time, and honestly, our associate doctor was actually, has been working part-time ever since as well. It was not even with him working full-time. We were able to create a system where I worked the mornings, he'd work the afternoons, all half shifts for both of us, and still collect $1 million a year and more. And last 2 years, we've actually peaked at 1.4 million gross 2 years in a row, the last 2 years. So the gamble paid off. The business model pivot definitely worked. And for the last 5 years, I've been able to enjoy these half days. So, I have a kind of a term or name for this that I've coined, which is called the $1 million half day blueprint, which is what I also teach my chiropractor clients that I coach and help. But the reason why I wanted to create this podcast episode is to genuinely really just share that this is possible. I want this for my fellow chiropractors because I know that so many chiropractors in business work so hard, and it is very hard what we do. It is really hard to not only be a great clinician in seeing patients and helping them get well, but it's also just hard running a business. We have to wear so many hats. We have to wear marketing hats because in chiropractic, you have to market a lot. We have to be team managers. We have to be leaders of our team. And so burnout in chiropractic is very common. We're not as fortunate as, say, a medical doctor who works for a hospital and really all they have to do is show up to the hospital and just be a great doctor, right? And the hospital typically is run by supervisors and organizers and directors. Chiropractors, and a lot like dentists, we have to service our patients, but also we have to run the business as well. So dentists also have a high burnout rate, but chiropractors, especially because our job is physical, we have to push and pull on patients when we adjust them and work on them patient after patient, day after day. So it's physically draining. It's mentally and emotionally draining because we have patients constantly coming in pain. We have to uplift them. We have to help them feel better. We have to be empathetic, sympathetic. Then when patient care is done, we have to pay the bills. We have to meet with our staff, train them, learn new things from us. So it's a constant grind and it's exhausting. So the reason why I want to share this is because I truly want this for my chiropractic colleagues and my chiropractic coaching clients, specifically, if this is you, if you're one of my clients right now, I want this for you. I really do. And I've had numerous clients of mine tell me that they want that type of model because they want to spend their time more with things that they want to do and people that they love, not just working all day. Now, if you love working all day, then by all means, it's a good fit for you. But I'd say most people do want to have that balance. They want to work, some, but they also want to spend a good quality time with their family and their loved ones. So if this is you, if you're a chiropractic business owner, or even just a small business owner of some type, and the thought of working part-time but still being very profitable within your business, then there are roughly about 5 different keys or steps that you need to achieve for this to happen. Because I'll be honest, it's not just going to happen overnight. You can't just wave your finger, or this is not going to happen in just 3 months or 6 months. It might not even happen in a year, right? Because like I said earlier, I did work hard, right? No one can take that away from me. I worked my butt off over my chiropractic career to get my practice to be able to make this transition, honestly, in my opinion, very seamlessly. So let me give you those key steps that you need to establish to have what I call $1 million half-day blueprint. And the first key is you need solid business structure and organization. And we can learn a lot from the Fortune 500 company world, where these are the most profitable companies in the US, ranked every year. And what they have in common is they've got solid business structure and organization. That means they know how to run the right meetings. They know how to get the right people in the right places. They have a hiring process, a training process, just complete organization, which is really the foundation of any good business. So we've done this for our chiropractic small business. I teach my clients how to do this, but that is step number 1. You need that foundation. It's like building a house. If you're going to build a house or any type of building, you start with a really solid, strong base or foundation. The second key or step is you need really an A team, A-level players. You need a staff full of just amazing A players, not C or B players. We're talking about A players. And again, there's really a whole process to this on how you hire the right people from the get-go, then how you train them in the first 90 days, how you do ongoing training with a regular training schedule. But this A team is what really allows you to be able to leave your office with an amazing staff and other people like a great associate doctor or support team, so that the office and practice still runs very seamlessly and efficiently. So you need a solid A team. The third key or system or step is that you need solid systems, or you can call these processes. So any type of business has what they call SOPs, or standards of operation, or systems of operation, standard operating procedures. I said that wrong. Standard operating procedures, SOPs. But in chiropractic business, there are many systems that are very unique and very common to what we do on a day-to-day basis. And this applies to the chiropractors, but also the chiropractic assistants or the staff members. And just to name a few, it would be like, the doctors learning how to do proper new patient communications. We call it the day 1, day 2 process. There's also different systems on how you put together treatment plans. There's also different things you do in the first few months of treatment to really give the patients what they're looking for and solve their problems. And so, this is all what we call a proven process. Very key things in the first, second, third month of care to get your patients the results that they're looking for, help in you with. Then there's also with your assistants, there's new patient systems. Do your staff know how to do proper new patient phone calls? What's their role when a new patient arrives to the office? How do they explain forms? How do therapy assistants set up patients or explain for the first time different therapies like decompression and laser and things like that? So there are many systems, and I said there would be a few, but so many just pop in my head. There's referral asking systems. How do you ask for patients for referrals if they're happy? How you ask for online reviews? There's all these kinds of systems, right? So there are many, and the important thing is just to learn and apply and implement one at a time. That's what I did over my first, I don't know how many years, 5 to 10 years of my career. I sought several mentors and consultants, and I learned all those different systems and started to plug them into my business one at a time. And so, I'm known as really the systems guy when it comes to chiropractic business, because we have so many systems already implemented in my business that run very well, which I teach my fellow chiropractic coaching clients. So systems is that third key or step. Learn what the systems are for your practice and business and make sure they're all set up, or go learn and acquire them. The fourth key is you need a steady stream of new patients or new clients. And I like to call these marketing faucets, because you want to get to a point where you're so good at marketing that you can actually turn these faucets of new patients on or off, or turn them up or turn them down. And when you're in a growth mode of your business, you need about 4 to 5 marketing faucets. And when you want to sustain a certain level, you need just about maybe 1, 2, or 3. But you need to know how to have a solid marketing department with a solid marketing plan that gets these new patients in month after month. If you're in a position where you're always worrying about new patients, this is a key step that you must master and get solid before thinking of having less work or working less. And that the fifth or final key or step is leadership. You must embrace leadership. Leadership rarely is just naturally, understood. Usually we have to learn how to be good leaders, or team managers, or directors of our staff. And that's what I did. I was a terrible leader and manager of people in the beginning. And I realized that quickly, and I sought to learn how to be a better leader. So there's several ways you can do that, through mentors, through different systems, reading different types of books and resources, but constant seeking of being a great leader for your team is that final step. Okay. If you have all the, and a little more on that, if you are a great leader, your team will follow you, your staff will support you. Your staff will work hard for your business even when you're not there for half a day or a full day, because they believe in their leader and they want to help the leader continue this strong practice or business, which helps the community, helps so many patients. They will continue to carry out the work even when you're not there. Okay. So if you establish these key 5 things, then you are usually then able to consider working less, okay, while your business is still making what you want to make, and then spend that time however you want, okay? If you've got kids, with your kids. If you've got other business endeavors, doing that. If you have other hobbies, doing that. So again, the reason and purpose that I put this topic together is I don't want to just hold and keep this for myself, right? I genuinely want this for you. If you're my coaching client right now, I'm going to help you. If you want, I'm going to help you get to that point if you want. If you're a chiropractor that where this is resonating and you would love that idea and want that vision, then I would say reach out to us, Alpha Omega Consulting, because I am proof that this is possible. Okay. And the last thing I'll leave you with is you will get far by being vulnerable and being humble and knowing that you can always learn more. And that's what I did. I still do. I still seek out advisors and experts on different topics that I don't know. And it continuously allows me to grow my practice in my business, and not only with my chiropractor practice, but also with my consulting business. So that is the topic for this episode. It's if you truly want to work less, spend more time with family, and I'm going to see if my editor can get a happy picture of my beautiful, wonderful family somewhere on the screen here, or maybe several shots of my family and myself. My family is the reason why I do all this. And I want this for you guys too. Okay, so that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Alpha Omega Biz Dev Podcast. Please tune in again, and we're going to keep helping you reach your dream practice. See you then.